Welcome to Java. Thank you for joining me. It's October 2nd, 2024. It is also Wednesday. That means it is also Discord Day. So we will be having open discussion today after the live at 5 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. So if you would like to join us and don't have access to the Discord there yet, please write me either in the comments or via email so that I can personally invite you and get you into the chat room. So with that, we've got a couple of other things coming on, some warnings coming into this market. We'll talk a little bit about Hong Kong and the effects that has had. And there's quite a bit going on, so much so that I've been a bit short on time. Yesterday did get censored a bit, shadow banned with some of the content that I had put out. So I had to put it out a second time. So no time for love in this market, but if I did, I would have to send a special shout out in particular to Bears versus Bulls. Thank you so much for not just helping with the editing, but also putting out some shorts. If you've noticed some of those coming out, those are for the less market related, less timely, and that is helping the channel out. So I would like to send that out to him. And with that, let's go into what's going on with the market this morning. Now we've got our favorite risk indicators we always start with. If you're new here, the MMRI is at 236.8. With everything going on, we had some movement yesterday. We're still solidly into the greed territory on our fear greed meter. Now we've got a lot of retailers basically still pouring money into the markets with all of the easing going on. Now we've got the United States 10-year yield as well as the relative strength of the dollar both gained some strength yesterday as stocks came under pressure. Now we've got a couple of basically forces that are battling here for the stock market. As of right now, market's still in the red a bit. Yesterday they did have some serious pressure. This was mostly on the tensions in the Middle East, what is going on between Iran and Israel right now. I'll talk about that a little bit more. We've got Hong Kong on the other side, China, basically pumping stimulus in. So for right now, China stocks rallying for the sixth day as their massive amounts of stimulus that they're pouring into their markets is fueling optimism, and it's pouring over into the United States. Now we had cryptocurrency is behaving as a risk asset yesterday. What do I mean by this? It means Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies dropped quite a bit. Now it fell down closer to the 60,000 level, showed major support, and is now recovering already above 61,000. Now, as I said the other day, we would watch if it came down to these levels. There was support at 62. I will be buying in. It is possible it could go lower than this with more events coming down the road. However, this is, in my opinion, and using past experience, it's coming into some pretty good support levels. Now with this, the market sentiment basically shaken but not stirred, so recovered yesterday after all of this happening. Now, United States markets waiting on job numbers, and this market is still definitely very greedy, at least with retailers. Now we're watching a different story with the big money, as we say. This means pension funds, hedge funds, and the likes. So they are moving more into cash, selling off a lot of these into these pumps that are happening. So if you're a retail investor, I urge caution on this one, particularly swing trades. If you're a day trader, just watch your levels. Now with this, we've got our US stocks right now, pre-market, looking quite a bit weak. We've got the volatility index is still high, and we've got oil up on the tensions in the Middle East and concerns over drop in demand and supply. So looking at the futures, we've still got at the moment, looking a bit of red, so still some pressure, although very slight. We've got silver and crude oil futures both looking in the positive. Crude over $70 per gallon. Now with this, we had Saudi issued a warning that if they don't watch the production cuts that they're proposing, that the price could drop as low as $50 per barrel. So they are trying to get together and continue with these production cuts, keeping the price higher so that they can make more money. With this, speaking about Bitcoin tanking, we had gold rebounded, and this was on Israel saying that Iran would pay for the attack that happened the other evening. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this volatility. Could very definitely show itself in what is going on. Now, Tuesday's stock market decline wasn't just about Iran, it was also about the port strike. Now, this contributed to a soft start for October. It was first day of the month. And then, as Israel's beginning this ground invasion into Lebanon, there is a lot of caution in the markets as the United States' involvement with this war. They did have two destroyers basically backing Israel on this. So, with this, take a look forward at the calendar. Federal Reserve and the whole narrative about the Fed cuts is based largely on employment numbers now. So, we're getting today ADP employment, then a couple of Fed presidents and Fed governors speaking so they can kind of manage the market back in as it needs. Tomorrow morning, we are getting jobless claims, and this is prior to the market opens. That could cause some movement prior to the market open. Now, speaking a little bit more about this is going to be across the news, but Israel had strikes in Beirut after Iran missile attacks caused this fear of a wider spreading war. They did have ground troops in Lebanon. Now, United States futures this morning are dropping in this nervy wait for their response. We've got a couple of other things playing in the background that I would like to bring out that they're not speaking about so much. Japan's new Prime Minister Ishiba is vowing to maintain strong alliance with the US. The interpretation of this is that they are going to go into the United States, pressuring them not to hike the currency in order to basically save their currency and strengthen what is going on over there. Now, Japan has a $4 trillion carry trade. They are basically unwinding this. They have done so far 3 occurrences of this. Now, this carry trade is so large that it can affect the United States markets. I've been speaking about this constantly. Now, Ishiba's ally is sending a signal to them also, warning the Bank of Japan against hiking their rates too soon. Now, all of this basically is interpreting to one thing. Basically, the United States is strong arming the Bank of Japan as well as the Prime Minister into acting in ways that they want them to. So, this new Prime Minister, Ishiba, with these vows to stick along with the United States and not cause any shocks to the US market through either their sales of the US denominated assets that they have. Basically, what happened is the last Prime Minister, Kishida, had to step down because there were scandals that came out in the government. Basically, this is all the pressure and political, manipulation that goes on behind the scenes. So now we've got a new person behind there that is vowing to play along with the United States. So kind of squashing out this yen carry trade, although there is still massive distortions in the currency markets. Now, a lot of this is now between the yuan with the Chinese markets basically bolstering this. Now, with this, I'd also like to speak a little bit more about Bitcoin taking that drop. MicroStrategy has moved up with their stocks. Basically, they hold about 252,000 Bitcoin, and only 4 companies have more than they do. And I think this is significant. BlackRock, Grayscale, Coinbase, and Binance. Now, those 4 companies, if they don't sound familiar, basically are large manipulators, in particular BlackRock. So when you watch the fluctuation in the price of Bitcoin, for now, it's being manipulated by one of these companies, if not all 4, in paper trades, similar to how they do with precious metals. Eventually, it will break out of this. Okay, with this, I've got a couple of other stories I want to bring out to you. Gemini, the exchange, cryptocurrency exchange, is leaving Canada. Now, they're not the only ones, and what is driving this exodus is basically Canada's securities administrators released an update to the crypto trading firms regarding mostly stable coins. Now, they're locking out a lot of stablecoin trading and increasing regulation. So, all of the larger companies, Binance had already left. Kraken is looking at doing this, and they've got a list of banned trading companies as it is. So, with this, the basically we've got Gemini's looking to pull out as well, and there is going to be much more regulation. This is moved to get towards their CBDC, despite them denying it. And in fact, them denying it basically pushes it forward that that is exactly the reason why they're doing it. So we've got on another side, Russia and China trade growing despite global challenges. And a large part of their trade is now going to be migrating instead of doing trades in their native currencies. They are going to be moving to their central bank digital currencies for ease and speed of transactions. Now, with this, I'd like to spin over to the fiscal wars that are going on right now. We've got Boeing. Yes, the same one that has been under pressure that creates all of the airliners have currently got a strike going on with their aircraft sector. 33,000 workers still on day 19 with no sign of the strike ending. Now, this has been eclipsed with the port worker strike, but the companies providing parts and services to Boeing and local businesses as well now beginning layoffs for tens of thousands of employees. Now, this is going to show itself in the weak job market coming forward. With this, we're watching the pivot of the company itself. The Pentagon has awarded Boeing another major contract to build more bombs for Ukraine. Now, I've said before, we are in a war economy, and this is going to be a way of easing for this company in specific, awarding them this contract to kind of pivot their business, allow the strike to go on so that some of the unemployment does manifest itself and they can get to where they want to go and massively, massively inflate the United States dollar, at the same time propping it up with military backing, as well as at the same time increasing the United States GDP through all of this war spending. So you can kind of see now how all of this is playing into each other, this major spiral of them bolstering themselves. And this is just basically going to prime itself for a larger drop when it comes. Now, other story slightly unrelated, but it is with the physical wars. The United States Army is testing robot dogs now, armed with artificial intelligence enabled rifles in the Middle East. So this could turn into a bad thing. Can't possibly imagine what could go wrong with this. If you got any ideas, feel free to put your ideas in the comments below, because I think there's quite a few things that could happen with this. So with this, I'd like to move into a couple of other stories prior to the market open. We've got travel warnings now coming out as this particular thing moving about now and spreading. I spoke about this yesterday, got my video held back to where I had to post a second one. So not going to talk about today, but this is the spelling. Look it up for yourselves. I believe this is going to be the one they use for the fear factor. Okay, moving forward, we've got a tiny North Carolina mining town, crucial to semiconductor industry. There is a large amount of not just lithium being mined, but also quartz, which is used in the semiconductors. This basically just got wiped out. With this, we're seeing large cash offers for properties surrounding these mining areas. And some of these are coming from, you guessed it, BlackRock, as well as some of the other corporations that want to purchase land in the areas. We've seen this before in a couple of other areas, namely Maui. So we've got another couple of stories I'd like to go into. The first is Meta partnering with UK banks to combat fraud. Okay, they've announced the expansion of a scheme. Basically, they're putting this under the guise of combating fraud, but what they're getting at is partnering social networks, all of the censorship that has gone on before, priming them to share close information on accounts, information on account owners with UK banks to start with, because they know they've already rolled over. And the UK is not just heavily censoring, but also causing registration, additional taxes, and basically coming down hard upon their citizens. Or basically, you can say those that they've got under their thumb, if you will. So they're going to be increasing their surveillance with this. Now, last thing I'd like to talk about, DeepMind and BioNTech building artificial intelligence lab assistants for scientific research. Again, what could possibly go wrong with that? I don't know. So with this, I wish you all a great trading day, wonderful day in general. Till I see you again, hopefully chat with you a little later this afternoon with our Discord group. So until I see you again, my friends, stay free.